All right, I want us to continue with our conversation. And Dennis, I'd like to start with you. What are your thoughts about the fines and the sentences? We're talking about 5 years up to 25 years when it comes to child pornography.
You know, initially, it was like we were operating in a jungle.
Right.
There was no law that was going to control people. It was a legal lagoon. But with this law, people right now need to be sure and very cautious on what they are doing. So if you get yourself engaged in those kind of acts, you better have the money to pay for the fines.
Right.
So it's just it's to make people cautious on anything that you're doing. You have to be very cautious.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Dimas, what are your thoughts about the fines? You earlier said that you don't understand why the fines are going up to 25 years, 20 years.
Yeah. Okay, for child pornography, which is child exploitation, you might see why, because this is a group that cannot defend itself.
Yeah.
However, when we see the other fines, you would imagine that the people who passed this law imagine that most Kenyans are like them. Most Kenyans are not in that economic caliber. Even under the EACC Act and Economic Crimes Act, such fines do not exist. But why is it that under these provisions they exist? Yeah, so I think they're just disproportionate to the crime itself.
All right.
Yeah. But just, I'm sorry, we have to know that even before child pornography was illegal.
Yeah.
Are we trying to imagine that it was okay before? These are penal provisions that were there.
Yes.
Yeah. So there was also a lot of duplicating laws in terms of you find that they've been provided under this law, but they are also under other laws.
Under other laws.
Yeah.
You wanted to add something on that?
On the same point, when you talk about cybercrime, we're not just talking about it's a broad thing. Take, for example, those people who are doing cybercrimes for the financial benefit. A person hacking an M-Pesa system or hacking the bank system. These are people who are doing, it's a big business.
Yes, yes.
So if you're found, assuming you go to a bank and you hack their system and you're stealing money from them, because the banks are not going to tell that. They're not going to come out and say that we've been hacked and some money has been lost. But if you're found, see you've stole like 100 million, the fine is still not that bad. So
if you're still 100 million, you can still pay 20 million shillings.
Yeah. Okay, in this law, we should understand that there are two aspects. The first aspect are these crimes that were not possible before the digital age. Yes?
Yes.
These crimes are hacking, phishing, like cyber squatting and things like that. And then there are the content crimes. What I am more concerned about, the issues of false news.
Yes.
Yes. The issues of misleading information and things like that. So under the Constitution, for content is what you say, what you put out there. Either you're saying it about someone else, or criminalizing content is not really, is disproportionate according to our Constitution. Unless you are engaged in speech that is prohibited under Article 33(2). Propaganda for war, incitement to violence.
Exactly.
Even vilification of others, which is now something like cyberbullying. But I still think the criminal sanction is too steep.
It's too steep on people.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to be the effect of this particular law now, especially on young people? There's a comment there, and true to that person's word, there are many young people who are making some money off, this thing, making, companies trend for the wrong reasons. There's a lot of that online. What do you think is going to be the cause effect of this particular law?
We have very many laws in Kenya. First of all, it depends on whether it's going to be acted upon, right? The effect is there's going to be a chilling effect on freedom of expression, as in people will be like thinking twice before saying stuff. But you'd wonder whether that will also affect legitimate speech. You see, freedom of expression is the right to offend, according to me. It is the right to tell someone, I don't like the way you look, or I don't like what you stand for.
Even if it causes harm to the other person.
How does it cause harm per se? Maybe it can cause emotional distress, yes.
Like I mentioned earlier, the people who've committed suicide, I'm also like a victim of cyberbullying. And, you know, most times that, you know, all these things that are being said about somebody, they, you know, they go back to reputational injury, character assassination. So how does that help you or help me if, you know, if you go online and do those things?
If this person can be identified, then you have the legal recourse of of civil defamation. And you can get a lot of money out of that. Yes, and that is what the courts actually said, is that criminal sanction on content is not allowed because we have civil options. The problem with the system is that justice moves very slowly. And even for you to be a distraction to start engaging a lawyer and following a case for that law.
Oh, okay. All right. Then it's also coming to you. How will we see this law into effect, considering that many people online also use pseudonyms? You know, you look for this person, and probably you may not find them because, you know, they don't use you don't know a lot about. There's no information about who they are online.
First and foremost, I think it will be better for the government first to have like a cybercrime awareness, because most of the people don't know what exactly is happening. It's like a new thing. Secondly, people are getting involved in, most of the people who are doing the cybercrime activities, most of them are techie. Assuming a person, if I wanted to hack a bank system, I can fake my IPs, so you will never get me. So I think the government, on the other hand, also need to have like a cyber army, because they cannot just use a cop, a traffic police to come and arrest a cyber. People are not using guns, and people are in the bedrooms and hacking. So it needs to have also, they need also to have people who are more specialists in the cyber world.
All right. Demas, are we likely to see any uproar from, you know, organizations like yours with regards to this law?
Usually, such organizations wait for a systemic violation to occur before they approach the courts for recourse or something like that. But yes, I think some organizations will likely move to court to get these certain sections of the act declared unconstitutional.
All right, or declared unconstitutional. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. We speak to Demas Kiprono, who is a senior legal officer at Article 19, together with Dennis Bikambo, who is an ICT entrepreneur. Thank you for your time, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, so we want to continue with our coverage. And so earlier this week, mobile phone service provider Safaricom and the Directorate of Criminal Investigations came under harsh criticism from lawmakers for not taking quick action to identify, arrest and prosecute fraudsters and cybercrime bullies. Murang'a County Women Representative Sabina Chege wondered why the police and Safaricom have allowed a person whose details are very well known to them to defraud over 10 members of parliament and sub-cabinet secretaries of cash using a Safaricom line registered under her name without taking action against that person. All right, moving on. Kenya has been declared free from Guinea worm and has received its certificate from the World Health Organization. Here's Health CS Silikariuki talking about that. All right, so we'll be having that in a few moments. Sorry, but remember that on our conversation this morning, we're looking at this computer misuse and cybercrimes law, and we have been having a conversation around that. I'll be looking at your responses shortly here on the show. Actually, let me just do that right now. All right, taking a look at my Twitter feed over here. Joy Maureen, thank you for your comment. You say, yes, cybercrimes are as dangerous as other crimes, and in the recent past, they have even led to deaths. Patrick Musembi, you say, no, these laws are here to hinder innovation. Somebody here, Nyambeche, you say that this law is ridiculous and illegal. Most of the clauses will be shut down by the court, I'm sure. Baba Daniela, thank you for your comment. You say it is necessary because the whole world has moved to cyberspace and we need laws to sober up engagements there. It is a step in the right direction with possible adjustment and amendments with time. Let's accept it first. Thank you for your comments. Keep them coming. And let's move on into our coverage. And Kenya has been declared free from the guinea worm and has received its certificate from the World Health Organization. Here is the health CS Cicely Kariuki talking about that.
Yes, a round of applause. We are now guinea worm free, formally. Yeah.
For me, it's a historic moment. Historic because in the month of February is when I joined this great team, and they gave me a celebration by getting this certification. I guess a sign of things to come. Let me take this early opportunity once more to first appreciate and congratulate all those who contributed towards ensuring that Kenya is free of this devastating disease. There is the frontline team, which was led by the professor. There's the guys who worked behind the scenes, including my own team in the ministry. Today, I celebrate you. I celebrate the partners who stood with us, and in particular, Dr. Rudy, WHO, and your team. Oh, we don't sound like we are celebrating. Ladies and gentlemen, we really must look like us. We do not celebrate enough in this field, do we? Or do we? We do not. When you're not responding to cholera outbreak, yeah, you are making your systems work to counter Ebola. When you are not countering Ebola, you are responding to accidents. When you're not doing that, you're doing the other. So we must really celebrate, and that's why I'm excited today. You can see I'm dressed for celebration. Oh, yeah. This achievement, ladies and gentlemen, is a culmination of concerted efforts that were made by the government of Kenya and its partners dating back all the way to November 2014, when the Ministry Health Committee was constituted to spread the guinea worm disease, hence giving rise to the National Certification Committee to spearhead the eradication process. We've been walked through that. Since the committee has provided guidance to the eradication process and coordinated a wide range of interventions, again, which have been shared with us today, and for which I really applaud you, the team. You'll be pleased to note that the Kenya eradication efforts were declared successful, and that is why I'm here today to receive the certificate from Dr. Rudy. The certification indeed validates our valiant efforts, and it is for this reason that we gather here this morning to celebrate the second disease to be successfully eradicated from Kenya after smallpox.
Now, about 4.7 million voters in Burundi head to the polls this morning in a referendum that seeks to change the constitution and possibly allow President Pierre Nkurunziza to stay in power for another 16 years. Our reporter Mark Namaswa tells us more from Bujumbura.
Two weeks of campaigning for a yes or no in the upcoming Burundi constitutional referendum have elapsed, the country's electoral body saying they are ready for the job ahead.
According to the law, the polls open at 6 o'clock in the morning and close at 4 o'clock.
The commission says its over 11,000 polling stations are ready and secure in the country and will also attend to voters abroad.
All those military deployed in Somalia and in Central African Republic will vote.
We spoke to a number of residents in the capital, Bujumbura, concerning their plans for Thursday.
Kwa referendumu ya kesho, sisi tuko tayari kwa kwenda kufanya uchaguzi. Hatuna uga wowote, nchi iko na amani.
Saa 11 tu nitakuwa niko tayari pale. Nitaanguka pale pangali saa 11 ili niwe wa kwanza kabisa kupiga kura.
Kimaisha kubadilika ni kila raia awe na uhuru. Alafu atafute bila tatizo, hakuna mwenye anamnyanyasa.
Kwa mafanikio ya kesho, sisi tunaona ni usalama sana kwa nchi yetu ya Burundi. Tunafurahia sana kwa matora hii walitayarisha kwa nchi yetu ya Burundi.
Voters need a voter's card and a national ID to vote, but in the absence of a voter's card, an ID and proof of registration in a polling station will do.
Military police, observers, drivers, the staff of the Electoral Commission. So we decide and we clarify which categories of people who can vote where they are not supposed to vote because of their duty.
A total of 55,318 polling officials have been deployed in an exercise whose results will tentatively be out in about 24 hours. Mark Namaswa, KTN News, Bujumbura, Burundi.
All right, and I want now to bring in Mark Namaswa, who's joining us by way of phone from Bujumbura. Mark, good morning. What can you tell us about the process so far?
Betty, we've moved from Bujumbura. Right now we are in a place called Gitega, a province in the central part of Burundi. As earlier mentioned, there are 4.7 million voters expected in a total of 11,076 polling stations. So as we were moving from Bujumbura towards Gitega, where we were expecting to have the Party Secretary General of CNDD to vote, which he has just done in a few minutes, we were able to notice people moving from their homes towards polling stations at about 6 a.m. So this place is 1 hour behind Nairobi. So if we speak of 6 a.m. here, it means in Nairobi it's 7 a.m. So voting has been going on peacefully, and for a country that has seen a lot of volatility and turmoil, it's quite an achievement. And the turnout in the particular station that we are in, at around 9 a.m. local time, it was about 50%, which means it's quite a good turnout. And we're also expecting this voting to go on until 4 p.m. according to CENI, that is the National Electoral Body, had indicated. Now, there are no issues that have been reported here, but other complications that had been anticipated by the Electoral Body included the issue of whether someone can come with a national ID alone or come with a voter's card. So initially it was you come with a voter's card and a national ID, and the Electoral Body decided to make some adjustments so that if you have just the national ID and you have registered in a particular polling station and your name appears in the register, you can still vote. You just present your national ID, and the electoral officials are able to verify in the register that you actually registered in that particular station. You can continue voting. And as it is now, people are still lined up in the queues, and voting is still going on. Back to you, Betty.
All right, Mark, before I let you go, do we know if the president has already voted?
Yes, that's quite an important bit of information. Initially, we thought we would go to the area known as Ngozi, which is in the north, but we were not able to do that because there was no confirmation on what time the president will be able to arrive there and what time he will vote. In fact, I'm told that even his close aides were not able to know when exactly he will vote and where, but we are told that he was able to vote at around 6 a.m. local time. And he spoke in Kirundi and French to the people that were around there, urging them to turn out and vote. We will get that clip that he has spoken in French and get the translation done for our subsequent bulletins. But the president has already voted, and right now we have just seen the Party Secretary General, CNDD, FDD, Party Secretary General known as Evariste Ndayishimiye, has just voted here in Gitega. He comes from the central part of the country. he's just voted. And so we'll move from here to another polling station so that we can also be able to try and locate a place that we can access a stable internet for us to be able to attempt doing a live link. Back to you, Betty.
All right, Mark Namaso there reporting from Burundi with regard to the referendum which is currently underway.